It is absolutely my great pleasure to be able to introduce the next two speakers. And this session is dedicated to a discussion of risk and resilience. The work that we have been discussing so far, the presentation of the global map, the global models, is really, it's the global perspective. It's bringing together all the information into that its comprehensive form. And what we want to do now is start to investigate what we can do with the information and the tools and the collaborations at a much more local scale. And this is really, to my mind, a window into the future. But it's also part of the present because this stuff is happening right now. So, but the first thing I would like to do is present to Ana Beatriz Acevedo a special recognition. What we are going to do is present Ana with the GEM Outstanding Contributor Award, which is given approximately once a year to an individual who is an exemplar, a champion of GEM principles for collaboration, openness, public good, credible science, and a champion for going well above and beyond to do for GEM and to represent GEM in a meaningful way, really assisting us in accomplishing our mission. Ana has initiated a graduate program in earthquake risk assessment. She's mentoring students to develop vulnerability models. She's been assisting in developing risk assessment capabilities in several cities in Colombia. And this has been an initiative really largely driven by herself and with the support of her university, and also with the work of GEM behind it. We've done workshops. We've had, I think it was mentioned earlier, workshops in Medellin with 100 people, not just scientists and engineers, but city planners, university professors, risk managers. So this is really going beyond the immediate technical organizations. So on behalf of GEM, it's my pleasure to present to, where is Ana? Can you please come up here? Okay. So, this award an award for championing GEM by developing an earthquake risk assessment capability at AFIT University using OpenQuake and leading to its applications to urban risk assessments in Colombia. And now you will find out about all of the reasons why Ana Beatriz is being given this award in her presentation, so I don't need to say any more. So please.
Well, thank you. I mean, this is an honor for me. I didn't expect this, but I'm not going to give it back. I don't think I deserve this. Everything that I have done is just work with GEM and trying to spread the word about seismic risk. So it's me, the one who has to thank GEM, and I want to thank them for the opportunity to be here, but also for the opportunity to be part of GEM. So the title of my presentation is Developing an Urban Earthquake Risk Assessment Capabilities and Application to Cities in Colombia. But actually what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you where we are right now and how did we reach this point. And I'm going to start my presentation with a slide that I stole from Vitor. He doesn't know I did this. This slide, he gave it a talk at Medellin workshop that we have been talking about this, and I'm going to show you a little more later. And Vitor was talking to us about the obstacles to risk assessment. So he said there is a lot of data, lack of models, lack of openly accessible tools for risk analysis, lack of expertise and local capacity, lack of international collaboration, and lack of scientific solutions. And as I was preparing this presentation, I felt very good because we have done a little of each of these topics in the last 5 years that I've been working with GEM. And as I'm going to be talking to you too much about EAFIT University and Medellin, I wanted to show you some pictures. So you can see EAFIT to your left, you can see the campus, and I wanted to show you that we have flowers all year round because Medellin is the city of the eternal spring. So you are all welcome to come. And then you have the pictures from Medellin. Medellin is the second largest city of Colombia. It has a population of 2.5 million people. The first city is Bogota. It has a population of 8 million people. And then we have Cali with a population of 2.5 million people. Between these three cities, we have 26% percentage of Colombian population. So I'm going to really start my conversation by a slide in which none of the pictures is mine. All of these pictures belong to SIATA, which is the early warning system of the metropolitan area of Medellin. And they are using OpenQuake. So in the upper picture to the left, you can see that they are generating ground motion fields with OpenQuake, and they are comparing the values that they got from previous events. And this is the first step that they did into OpenQuake. This is a picture of the computer of one of the people that works in SIATA. And they use OpenQuake because it's free, but more important because it's open. So they can really get into the code and use it as they want. And the next step that they want to do is that they want to do real-time earthquake scenarios. This means that as soon as an earthquake takes place, they will know the magnitude, the faults, the characteristics, and they want to know where the damage will be in the city. And I'm sure that they're going to do that because we just finished a seismic risk assessment of the residential building stock of Bogota, Medellin, and Cali. And this is very important, and I want to highlight that we, GEM and EAFIT University, we did this job, but we involved the people from different public institutions. So we know that they're going to use our models, they're going to use our fragility functions. So this is why I know that SIATA next year is going to be able to do the real-time earthquake scenarios. I also wanted to show you that we just developed some seismic risk assessment of electric substations. This was a master thesis, and the woman that was working in this thesis, she worked at the company that owns the substations. And this is something that I wanted to show with you. This is a program, you don't see GEM there, but it's the result of what we have done with GEM. We are currently doing our work with the EAFIT University, the metropolitan area of Medellin, which is a public institution that works for the 10 municipalities of Medellin, and they do seismic risk assessment. And we are also working with another organization that is called Build Change, and they want to increase safety to schools and home. So what happened is that when we did the seismic risk assessment, we found out that our unreinforced masonry structures are very vulnerable, and they are like more than 50% of our building stock. So they wanted to get involved, and we just finished some experimental tests of unreinforced masonry structures. But we also did the retrofit of 3 houses, and we did this because we wanted to have real values about how much time does it take to retrofit a house, how much does it cost, which is the impact in the community, and we wanted to increase risk knowledge. So we have public institutions using OpenQuake. We are doing seismic risk assessment of electric substation, also for the residential building stock of the main cities in Colombia. We are working with the government, and this is the happy lady that is the owner of the first house that we retrofitted this year. We're also having some master students, even from Quito, that they come to EAFIT, and we did an assessment of earthquake-induced landslides in Ecuador. And we have a doctoral student. She is currently doing that seismic risk assessment of water services in Medellin. And we have, of course, the support of GEM, but we also have the support of the utility company of the city. And this last one, it's an idea that is going to start next year. So we want to develop an integrated urban seismic risk assessment. This means that we want to include landslides, and we also want to include liquefaction. And this is a very nice project because it's going to be developed by University of EAFIT with the support of GEM and with the support of the metropolitan area of Medellin, which is this public institution. And what we're going to do is that the methodology is going to be applied to one of the municipalities of the metropolitan area. So what we want is that results can be used, and maybe they really want, as one municipality will get these great results, then maybe the other ones will want to have them too. This is something that I learned from Murray. He was in Medellin last year, and he told us that if we really want our products to be used by end users, then we have to involve the end users from the beginning. So this is what we are doing now. Okay, so how did we get here? It all started 5 years ago with the SARA project, which is the South American Risk Assessment Project. I was invited to be part of the exposure and vulnerability team, and I must confess, I didn't know too much about this at that time, but Jem didn't know that. So I got in this team, and we had very nice training from Jem. We had one training in Peru, we had one training in Medellin. We get to know how to develop an exposure model, how to develop vulnerability models. And then we also get to know OpenQuake for the first time. It was not so friendly, but we could use it. And then what EAFIT did is that we developed a local exposure model for Antioquia department, which is the region in which Medellin is. And then later, we developed exposure models for Bogota and Cali. By developing these models, we get to know the tools that GEM has developed, like, for example, the inventory data capture tool, which is a very useful tool, and we are still using it. We find out that the majority of our structures are unreinforced masonry structures. So we develop fragility functions for Colombian unreinforced masonry structures. So in order to do that, we had the help of GEM. We discussed the methodology together, and we used the Risk Modelers Toolkit, which is a very nice tool that you can use to develop fragility function. And then SARA project stopped in 2015, but this didn't mean that we had to stop collaborating. So I kept working with my master and doctoral students, and then we improved the exposure models that we had developed for the 3 cities. So we have the exposure models. We had the fragility functions for unreinforced masonry structures. This means that we were ready to do some earthquake scenarios. So I came back to Pavia 3 years ago, and I came to a training workshop, and then I finally get to use OpenQuake by myself. So we did these earthquake scenarios, and then I had results. I had results that show that our unreinforced masonry structures are very vulnerable. And then I think this is very, very important, because then I have numbers. And then the community began to hear about this, and this is how the metropolitan area and the other public institution got interested about what we were doing. And somehow, I don't know why, I'm becoming a useful speaker at many conference and academic events like this, but believe me, this is the first time I do it twice. Anyway, so I always keep talking about seismic risk, what GEM is, how we have collaborated together. But I think the main event was this seminar and workshop that we did 1 year ago. You have heard something about Victor and John. We did a seminar on seismic risk assessment, and we did a workshop on OpenQuake, and it was a very interesting event. We had, of course, the support of GEM. We have the support of the Canadian Geological Survey. But what's more important is that we got the support of public institutions. Like all those logos that you see here, they're from institutions that work on risk. But I want to highlight that the support was not economical. They really wanted to be part of this. And as you can see here in this picture, then we had all these people from all these different backgrounds talking together, about seismic risk. And of course, we were honored to have Victor, Murray, and Catalina on the seminar and the workshop, and we have more than 100 people. And this is private institution, public institutions. We have students and professors from different universities from all over Colombia, from Ecuador, and one guy from Mexico. So after we had this seminar, then we got together again 2 months later, and you can see John and Catalina there. And we got together with these public institutions, and we sat together and said, what can we do to really do something to increase our knowledge on seismic risk? Well, after this meeting is where the metropolitan area decided to do this job with us that we show you. And here, an idea came out, and it was the idea to do an integrated seismic risk urban assessment, which is the work that we are doing next year. So this has been very, very important, very interesting, and we keep working with these institutions. So now we have public and private institutions doing seismic risk assessment with OpenQuake. We are beginning to work together and to develop projects together with the public sector, with the private sectors. We have graduate and undergraduate students that are using GEM tools, and they are learning how to perform seismic risk analysis from the university. So what can I say? I think we are really working together to assess risk. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ana Beatriz. Do we have some questions? We have a little bit of time if somebody would like to ask a question.
What we heard so far, you seem to work with a lot of institutions and companies utilizing GEM. Is it a problem that there's no commercial support behind it, that it's all more of a community effort, or is that even a positive thing in your experience?
I think it's an advantage, because then there you have this program that is free, that everyone can use, and then as I am a professor, then well, you will see later, but I have been invited to many academic activities in my country, and I keep talking about seismic risk, and I keep talking about the importance to use GEM tools, and people begin to want to be part of this. So actually this project that I was showing you is not that I went and I knocked the door. It's the opposite. They saw what I was doing, and then they wanted to be involved. So I think it's very important, but you really need to be there. Like every academic activity, you just have to be ready to say yes all the time. And then someone will get to work with you. And then I have other colleagues that they also are interested in seismic risk. So now we are doing this project together that before they didn't never think about risk. Now we are including risk in these projects.
Oh, that's great, thank you.
Thank you.
This award an award for championing GEM by developing an earthquake risk assessment capability at AFIT University using OpenQuake and leading to its applications to urban risk assessments in Colombia. And now you will find out about all of the reasons why Ana Beatriz is being given this award in her presentation, so I don't need to say any more. So please.
Well, thank you. I mean, this is an honor for me. I didn't expect this, but I'm not going to give it back. I don't think I deserve this. Everything that I have done is just work with GEM and trying to spread the word about seismic risk. So it's me, the one who has to thank GEM, and I want to thank them for the opportunity to be here, but also for the opportunity to be part of GEM.